Hi guys, welcome to the Booth Customs channel. I am here today with Kenton Bowen, aka the Pew Practitioner, and we are going to be shooting, amongst other things, the PSA Dagger, which is a Gen 3 clone. We've got the a Gen 5 Glock 19 and a Gen 4 34. Just for comparison, we're going to be looking at triggers and some other things, so stay tuned. All right, so the PSA Dagger for $340 in tax.
Tax and ship.
Tax
I
and
still
ship.
say definitely a win.
Definitely a win. Comes with
one magazine.
One magazine, but comes with this cool little case with spots for two more. Place to secure your gun, and check this out. Yep, it did not come with a suppressor, but you can stick your suppressor in there if you have one. So we're gonna try this baby out and see how she does. So hot take on the triggers.
Alright, so on the table we got the PSA Dagger, Gen 3 Glock clone. A little bit longer slide, got the Glock 34 Gen 4 and then Glock 19 Gen 5. Not really sure what trigger they put in the PSAs. Not bad, but definitely no discernible wall. Just kind of mushy all the way through, but short break. I mean, definitely not the worst, but noticeably less discernible wall with either both the Gen 4 and definitely the Gen 5. I definitely feel like there's a continuous evolution with the trigger feeling a little bit better in the Gen 4. And to me personally, honestly, I feel like the best trigger is in the Gen 5, for sure. Again, not bad, but for the money, definitely can't, it's kind of hard to beat. Otherwise, function flawless, no other problems. For my type of shooting, I would not necessarily know if I'd want to spend the money right now to upgrade, but definitely noticeable.
Okay, so had some trouble with the sight.
Yeah, so I know Warrior Poet Society kind of mentioned the similar things. Kind of hard to tell. I know it's just all black, and we're going to put a dot on this. But the front sight is also still a little loose. Took it to a shop because I did not have a tool, and they said the one from the factory, I guess, was too thin, that there was no way to really tighten it. It wouldn't really fall off, but we would have to replace it. Not the end of the world, but definitely a zonk against the PSA for sure.
Budget gun.
Going to give a few follow-up thoughts to my range session with Kenton, where we shot the PSA Dagger and compared it to the Gen 5 Glock 19. So a couple things to think about. The Dagger is definitely a budget pistol. Kenton paid for this one with optics slide cut, suppressor height sights and everything, threaded barrel, $340 shipped. Whereas a Glock 19 MOS is probably like I don't know, probably like in the $550 to $650 range, somewhere thereabouts, depending on where you find it. But comparatively, it feels well, feels about the same, handles great. However, you are using a clone of, some years old firearms technology, comparing it to a, latest generation pistol from a company that's been around for years, tried and true. Glocks are reliable, like them, love them, or hate them. They do get the job done, and dependable pistols. One of the things that noticed first when we got the Dagger was the front sight was loose. Okay, not a big deal. Tighten her down, let her run. However, the sight was not able to be tightened enough because the screw was either too long or the slide thickness at that point was too little to allow it to be tightened completely. Put some blue Loctite and stuff on it. I think he took it to a shop that was nearby his house, and they attempted to tighten it, could not get it tightened enough, so the front sight is still loose. It's a budget gun, however I would expect something that I'm buying to at least have tight fitment when I get it. You can replace that sight, and there's things to do to make it tight. However, that's a definite downer. As far as the trigger was concerned, Kenton and I discussed some. It's real spongy with the Dagger. Now that can be replaced in BD with anything aftermarket that would fit a Gen 3 Glock 19. The trigger pull on the Glock 19, the Gen 5 that we shot, and even compared to a Gen, I think it's a Gen 4 Glock 34, you have a little bit of creep, you hit that back wall, and then bang. The Dagger sort of just seems like it slides through the back wall, like you have a lot of creep, and then you hit the back wall and you hit it, but it still just sort of like eases through it. It's not like a crisp break. The reset on it was good, so if you learn your reset and you're able to fire quickly and efficiently. However, not the best trigger. So I think the moral of the story is, whenever you go for budget guns versus tried and true guns, you get what you pay for. So it all depends on you, basically, and what you want to use the gun for. Kenton bought the Dagger as just sort of a range toy that he could shoot suppressed, so that's great. You also have to think about, do you want to put a $800 suppressor on a $300 gun? If their front sight is out of spec, what else is out of spec that could impact the projectile coming out of the end of your gun, possibly causing a baffle strike or an end cap strike or something like that? So weigh through these options. If I were going to suppress a pistol, I feel like I would spend the money on a really good proven pistol to suppress rather than a budget pistol. But that being said, if what you're looking for is a range toy, something to just sort of like, that comes the ability to have optics put on it without sending a slide off or paying the extra money for one that is already milled, the Dagger seems like a really good option. Would I carry it for a personal defense weapon? Absolutely not. But in the price range, for what it does and what it's intended for Kenton's purposes, absolutely. But if you're going to go for something that's going to be a life-saving, your life depends on it, or your family's life depends on it, you need to go with a proven name, something that is been vetted and is a workhorse and will get the job done. I hope this has been enjoyable and informative, and we'll see you next time on the Booth Customs channel. Happy shooting.